Well, it's April, and of course, everyone is looking at April Fool's Day as a day to play some pranks, have some fun, make some jokes, right? But in retirement planning, getting fooled could actually cost you some real money. So today, we have 5 beliefs that kind of fool retirees sometimes and pre retirees and make them look a little uncomfortable when they're making some financial moves. So today, we'll go through that with Ryan Ledden. Welcome into Perfect Game Retirement. Ben George with Ryan Ledden at Black Oak Asset Management. Ryan, have you been an April Fool's guy? I mean, are you one to play pranks in the office or at home?
I haven't at the office really. I mean, I've done it to my kids a few times, but it's not like I have it marked on my calendar for to do something. But I have done that to them, like they wake up, or I'll wake them up and say, "There's no school today," or something like that. So that's kind of a mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's
kind
a
of a
mean
mean
one.
girl joke. But no, nothing. If it comes to mind, great. If not, it's all right.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, that's a pretty rough one, and breaking it to them, you're probably having to deal with that prank on your own for a little bit as they're mad at you. But today we got some good April Fool stuff. We're going to kind of go through. Again, these are some kind of things that maybe fool retirees and pre-retirees a little bit. We want to make sure you don't get caught off guard and fall for this trap or this trick or whatever we want to call it today on the show. And again, if you have questions, again, blackoakam.com, great place to learn more about what Ryan does every day at Black Oak Asset Management. But if you want to schedule a time to meet, the link is in the show description, but it's easy. Speakwithryan.com. All right, we got 5 to go through. I want to start with Social Security. One topic that you're very passionate about, that you're very informed on, that you work with clients all the time on. But that myth that, hey, you better claim it now because it's going to run out, right? We hear this all the time. So why
Mm-hmm.
is this tricking people so much?
It is because, and I get it's in the news a lot. It's being talked about. It's being discussed in Congress as we air this. They're talking about maybe making it more favorable for retirees, where it's potentially not going to be taxed as it is now. If your income, if your taxable income is a certain amount, you do pay tax on your Social Security even in retirement. But they're tossing that around that it may not be the case anymore, but we'll see. We'll keep our fingers crossed for all our retirees out there. But yeah, claiming it just because you think it's going to go away, I think it's financially irresponsible. I get why people say that because of the numbers and the data show one thing, but there's also a bunch of different ways to give this a resolution where it will continue on. I mean, could you imagine what voters would do if all of a sudden they say, nope, we're Social Security has run out, you no longer receive a benefit despite you paying it into it your entire life. So
Yeah.
they will not do away with it. Could it be means tested one day? Meaning the larger your income, the more assets that you have. Could it? Yeah. Could they move the full retirement age to a later age, which they have kicked that around to right now, anyone born after 1960, it's 67 is the full retirement age, but they're talking about moving that to 69, which kind of delays that proverbial date that people are going to receive 75% of their benefit. I think it's like 2033 or 2034, somewhere in that range. But yeah, claiming it just for that very reason. I've had people within my family do that for that very reason, and they have regretted it. So it will continue on. Will there be modifications to Social Security? Yes, there will be. There has to be. What that will be, I do not know. We'll see, but don't claim it just because it's going to run out.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is too, Ron. I guess if you claim it early, you're still getting paid. You're still getting the benefits. You just might cost yourself over the long run if you don't have a better strategy. So it kind of ties into the next one, right? The tax time bomb, which is something that will fool people because they think I'm going to underestimate my taxes a little bit on my accounts. I'm not going to fully have a good grasp of what the taxes are going to look like in retirement. So I don't quite account for that. And while, yeah, you're still going to get that money, pull it out, you might not be getting as much as you could have had you done the proper tax planning.
That's right. I mean, that's where you do have to do some tax planning. Obviously, we're in a little bit of a transitional year because the tax code is supposed to sunset at the end of this year and transition to it retro and back to 2017 levels, I believe, is the year. But I think the new administration, they'll do something, whether it's just extend the environment that we're in or change things up. I don't know. That's one thing that they'll probably tackle this year. I can't foresee them just letting it expire and then go reset back to previous levels. So yeah, being aware and tax planning, and run scenarios with this. Run scenarios where taxes are higher. Run scenarios where taxes are the same or taxes are lower. That way, how you pull your money out has a huge impact on your taxes, because these pre-tax accounts, the first entity that's going to get their hands on that money is the federal government. They're going to, and the state government if you live in certain states that still have state tax, income tax. So they're going to get theirs, and then you're going to get what's left over. And again, how tax forms work, taxable income flows through the whole thing. And that's where people sometimes aren't aware of how does it affect your Medicare premiums? How does it affect your Social Security, which we just talked about? How does it affect the taxes on that? So being aware of how you pull money out of these different accounts. I'm not saying you have to have all your money in taxable or tax-free accounts and have nothing in pre-tax IRAs or 401ks. I'm not saying that, but having choices to be able to pull out of different accounts can keep you in certain tax income tax brackets that make your life way more tax efficient.
Yeah, so important to make sure you're doing the proper tax planning. It can really help you out in retirement. All right, another belief that maybe will fool retirement savers a little bit, Ryan, is the set it and forget it retirement plan. And if anybody's watched a single video or listened to a single podcast we've done, they understand that's not your approach, Ryan. But why do so many people think that a set it and forget it retirement plan will work?
Yeah, because there's always changes that need to be made. I've said it on here before. We give people, their retirement plan, but then we say it's not going to work out like this. So we're going to have to constantly make adjustments. Health is a big factor of this. Inflation is a big factor. Rates of return is a big factor, and we can bake all that in as much as you want, but it never actually plays out 100% as it's going to be. So. Very rarely have I seen people be able to set it and forget it type mentality, because again, things change. Your risk tolerance changes. You need more money for healthcare expenses, and so that may not come out in this linear fashion of taking a certain amount out every single month and you'd be fine at the very end. It just doesn't work out that way. I'm not saying you can't be fine at the very end, but there's always adjustments that need to be made. So set and forget it. It's constant maintenance, because it's reverse engineering, because it's decumulation phase versus accumulation phase. So changes and adjustments always have to be made.
Yeah. All right. This is one I think that will fool some people quite a bit, Ryan. The belief that the 4% withdrawal rule in retirement will make it easy. I mean, I think a lot of people just assume, hey, you just kind of follow this general guidance of 4% every year and you're all set. But why can that put people in a bad position?
Yeah, I mean, especially the last decade or two, a lot of experts out there have been poking holes in the 4% rule. And again, if you don't know what it is, it's take your nest egg, draw 4% out each year. That's your income, and you should kind of keep your nest egg somewhat intact. Obviously, it'll fluctuate up and down, but a 4% withdrawal rate is a pretty safe, quote unquote, safe withdrawal rate for your money to last. And if you're just doing quick, math on a napkin, yeah, that it could potentially just spitball math. It could work, but again, interest rates change. Your safer investments as far as how they pay out, because again, for decades we've been in a very low interest rate environment. So if you've been in a very low interest rate environment, those safe investments like savings accounts, high yield savings, money markets, CDs, they don't pay anything. And so when the 4% rule was invented, and sorry, I can't remember the person who came up with the concept. I've read it many times, but I'm drawing a blank on the person's name. But that's when interest rates were super high, and bonds and these quote unquote safer investments were paying huge amounts. So 4% was like really easy to do, and then for decades it was difficult to do. Now we're in a little bit of a higher interest rate environment, so maybe the 4% rule holds a little cloud or water now, but it's still there's constant adjustments. Because what if you're a person who works until they're 75? Well, you may have 20 years. So maybe you can take out a higher percentage depending on how much savings you have and what your income needs is, versus someone who retires when they're 55. They may need to take a smaller percentage out because they don't know how long they're going to be alive. It could be another 40 years. So a lot of factors in there, and 4% just not, you got to do a little more math than that.
Yeah. All right. Last one here on our April Fool's list of pranks that could trip up retirement savers, high dividend stocks. I know a lot of people have traditionally leaned on high dividend stocks to help kind of fund that income in retirement. And then while they still have some value, right? Is that an effective strategy for retirement?
Yeah, it can be a piece of it. It's not the end all be all. There's a lot of pundits out there who talk about getting, high dividend paying stocks and just receive that as income, and that can work, and that could be a whole nother episode just in itself. But I mean, dividend paying stocks, they still fluctuate in value. They go up, they go down as far as the stock price. And then when a dividend is issued, which are not guaranteed, but when a dividend is issued by a company, the stock price comes down by the same percentage. So I read an article, I think it was last fall on Morningstar, and it gave the analogy, pretend, it's Halloween time, and pretend you have two candy bars. Well, one person has a candy bar, a full-size candy bar, and this person has a full-size candy bar. Well, this one over here is the dividend paying stock, the candy bar. Well, you lose a little bit of that candy bar and you get a little mini on top of it. It's not like you get the full candy bar and then the mini on top of it with a dividend. No, it still comes down. So you still kind of have the same amount, but it can just be seen as income that comes in. So it's a little bit of a, I don't know if fallacy is the right word. Again, they're a good piece of the portfolio. I highly recommend it, but having that the end all be all, it's not the. There are adjustments that need to be made. Just because it pays a dividend doesn't mean that that's just the gain on top of the value as well. That dividend comes down as far as the value of the share price. So again, a lot more. If it was that easy, I would not have a job. It would just be like everybody invest in high dividend paying stocks, but they can be a useful tool, but just a piece.
Yeah, just a piece of that. So 5 April Fool's pranks for retirees, potentially not all pranks, but things that could maybe put you in a position that isn't the best for retirement, which is why you work with a financial planner. Ryan is a certified financial planner, Black Oak Asset Management, and a retirement coach, and can help you through these different types of strategies, all these different pieces of the puzzle: taxes, Social Security, withdrawals, income planning. There's a lot that goes into it, right? And there's a lot of moving pieces, and Ryan can help you with that. So if you have any questions, please reach out. And Ryan, please make sure you take it easy on your kids this April Fool's, please.
I won't do the school prank this year.
I appreciate it. Thank you for watching this episode, and we'll be back again next week. So please subscribe. We appreciate everybody that has done that so far. We've been seeing a lot of support early on here on the YouTube channel, so appreciate that. We'll talk to you again next week.